Blue side may allow them to flex a little bit more with picks and bans, and now with Ray in the mix.
Yep, but they do have to worry about counter picking. That Phoenix1 will now have the opportunity to do that in their last part of the first phase. Early pick after bans, and then actually pick up a counter pick in the last phase. So it was interesting because previously the perception was that red side got kind of shafted by having to ban the 3 OPs, but even before the 3 OPs were what was being banned, when I talked to teams, they said red side is so powerful. Red side, you get to do 4 things in a row before your opponents really get to pick anything. You get to pick last in the phase 1, you get to ban twice, and then you also get to pick first and then counter pick again.
Seeing most of the normals, but this does leave LeBlanc as well.
Yeah, LeBlanc, Rengar, Varus.
Yeah, at least Varus may be left up this time. He's been seeing himself on the ban list quite a bit here, especially for Arrow.
Yeah, you do have to think about what you want to first pick, though. Oh, I like that. A little bit out of left field. It was something that C9 had banned in their second phase. So Jace on the table, Varus, LeBlanc, Rengar, Maokai, taken off, Ashe. Yeah, so a lot of things are still open here. So Ashe, Shen, Cloud9 actually banning those out from Zig. Interesting.
Actually taking quite a bit here with that Syndra ban, because now they know some S tiers are getting left up with this last ban. It's going to be the Varus, because they don't want to obviously play against it or have it in the game. Ooh. Arrow wouldn't be grabbing that one for himself. So, first pickup.
Now you're in a situation, first pick Jhin, or do you give that over to Phoenix1? I think you first.
Yeah.
So the response, you assume it's going to be Rengar in this round?
Yeah, you at least cut Arrow's possibilities down a little bit here. He can still play the Ashe, but he's not going to be doing as much damage from the range he's usually standing in.
Yeah, I think...
And the LeBlanc, there it is.
Nice. LeBlanc, and I would assume Rengar.
That's a scary 2 champions coming at you.
Yeah, both with a lot of gap closing abilities, ways to lock people up and root them.
Also, ways to escape.
Also ways to escape too, yeah. Very true. But I would assume that they go for that. But also, if they don't want to pick, okay, that's interesting. There's so many junglers on the table, so I guess they say, we'll wait on it, we'll pick up Nami because it's perceived as one of the better supports.
It's just one of the...
Interesting.
Really one of the first games we see where there's no junglers banned on the list.
Yeah, there's just so many up, but support pool isn't even pinched either. The Malzahar's taken off, but that's it. And so now you give over Rengar, and yeah, contract space, no space there. He definitely had a tiny, tiny smile there. You can see the lock-in Rengar. Yeah, all right, he got it.
We have seen a lot of the Nami pick up as well, kind of snuffing out those Rengar engages, a big tidal wave backwards, and your team pretty much has to re-engage, especially on if the Rengar gets caught. So yeah, you can see Adrian enjoying that, ready to protect the team.
And so now they're in a situation where you don't have to pick your jungler here unless you think it's going to get target banned really hard. But I think you go for your AD carry, whether it's Ashe or Ezreal, because it's going to take 2 bans, just like Phoenix1 had done to Cloud9.
So as on this side, does Ryu go quirky this game? Oh, he's actually got the LeBlanc.
Got the LeBlanc, yeah.
Yeah. You did it first game, I did.
And that's why I actually think Cloud9 have a better start to their draft because they were able to see the mid laner. They picked their mid laner. They were able to get one of those S tier AD carries, and then they also got Rengar, and no jungler was answered, so you can ban out junglers here.
And they have the Nami, so focus Smoothie. Although his Karma is still on the board, they do get the Zyra out for a disengage if they want to get in for a fight on the side of B1. 17 seconds here for ban phase 2 on Cloud9. And it's going to be the jungle.
Yep, pinch the jungle a little bit. Kha'Zix and maybe Graves would be the other ban you would expect. But Graves doesn't have a CC, so they may be comfortable giving that over to Meteos. It's a very mechanically demanding champion, and if you are in that rusty state, might not perform as well.
Excited to see what Ray gets here for his pickup. He kind of opens up the Cloud9 champion select just a little bit, as we've seen before. And Phoenix1 may not be ready for what they have in store. Last ban, Elise.
Yep.
Actually, as I thought that might be something Meteos falls back to.
Yeah, he had played it previously 2 days ago. And like I had said, he really favors those CC junglers, so don't expect him to pick up Graves, but the Graves ban I thought might come through if they knew something I didn't. And Olaf from Meteos, he's already got Ghost as his summoner spell, so I'm pretty sure that does get locked in. Yeah. When you see him swap over there and somebody else is hovering Ghost, or hovering Olaf, you're like, yeah, all right, that one's probably getting locked in.
And then the Zac comes through. We're ready for the Zac.
Or the Warwick, you know.
Yeah, we have seen one in the NALCS and a few around the world. What does Cloud9 have in store now?
Got to pick their top laner and their support.
Yep. Take the Karma.
You can see Reaper discussing with Ray what he's going to play. What's going to round out the composition here?
It's like, I did hover that Riven, you know. I can play Riven.
I could do it, coach.
Ah, yes, Fiddlesticks. Great choice.
It's blind as well, so Poppy, Nautilus, Fiora, are they going with the Ray special? They putting all the cards on the table, trying to go for the carry?
So. There was a no tank comp from P1 last time. Is
all right.
A no tank comp now from C9, and a whole hell of a lot of damage coming out.
Yeah, Jace is still on the table too, but they say, all right, do what you do best, Ray. Pick up the Fiora and go. So Zig actually dabbles in a lot of different champions. I would actually not be surprised to see him pick up one of these strange champions. They have a tank with the Olaf, but Illaoi rounding out composition. There you go.
All right, Kled and Skarl gonna do what they can in the top lane. Awesome compositions. We saw it push back to the Gragas Ezreal last time. Now we have Kled, Ezreal, LeBlanc on the side of P1, getting a little bit of Fiora play in here from Ray as he is subbed in on the side of Cloud9. And this ban phase, you can see left up so many S tiers. These guys are going to have a pretty volatile game.
Yeah, you look across the board and you're just like, man, Cloud9 got Rengar, Ryze, and Jhin, and they gave up LeBlanc. Literally, that's the tiers right there where you would consider the upper echelon of champions. But Phoenix1, Meteos on the Olaf, good champion for him. But Kled, every single time I have a conversation with Zig about the top lane meta, he's like, and I think Kled could be good. And every single time, without fail, he'll tell me that he thinks Kled could be good here. He's like, I want to believe it's good. Well, we'll see if believing is enough.
Last few words from Reaper and Fly as they step off stage, saying, yeah, that's a Kled. Good luck on the top lane, boys.
What's that champion do?
What is this? So you see the rosters on your screen, the picks and bans just ending here as P1 looks to close this game out over Cloud9 in 2 as we had a base race just to end game 1.
Yeah, and that would be great for Phoenix1. They have actually had substitutions when they first became an organization. Was a rough road where they started off 0-9 in the first half, but now they're looking at if they could take down Cloud9, they will be tied for 3rd place after the first round robin.
And it's got to feel good to be able to come together in somewhat of an emergency sub-week filling in the spot for Nori and be able to do this to Cloud9.
2-0 in a substitution week would be ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Against a #1 team.
P1 is poised to do so here. C9, pretty good champion select for themselves. Looks like it may go a little bit better in the early game. Well, it's also up to them if they keep the kills away from Zig in that top side.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know how great this actually is against the Fiora, because your bear trap on a rope is an incredibly telegraphed CC that Fiora can riposte on demand. And we'll see. Calm down, Skarl.
I miss this. Top laners used to do this all the time. And they just auto-tag each other once, but it was more the Nautilus Maokai.
Or in the Trundle spams dance.
Yep. Best dance, one of the best in the game. All right. So Zig and Ray have a quick conversation top side. Looks like Zig will kind of just push him down and make sure he is helping Contracts to say top side start. We know about that.
Yep, they're actually checking the Raptors. There's a ward at Cloud9's Raptors, so the Rengar is not going to start there. They know that Contracts is most likely starting on top side. Interested in what position this will put him later on, because Meteos is on the bottom side starting blue, and then he will make his way towards the top side of the map which has that snowball lane where Contracts, you might get put on the opposite side at level 3.
Little push in the bot side. Doesn't look like Ray goes too hard early. Wants a nice, easy game for himself. We'll see a lot of action up there, though, between Zig and Ray, I bet. As Meteor starts his jungle on the Olaf. Saw him push back quite far here, so we'll see if he can make an impact. We do see, overall, we mentioned it, but P1 lacking on the CC basically everywhere.
Yeah, not a lot of lockdown here. They do have the LeBlanc, though, and they do have the Gled. All right. This ain't his first rodeo. Going off to the side, making sure that it doesn't hit him. Actually gets the better of that trade.
As he said, it could be good.
Yeah, it could be good. You just got to be good. I think that's kind of true for most things in League of Legends. It could be good. You just got to be good.
Well, you go to ask that to most people. Unless it's a counter, they're like, yeah, skill matchup. Yeah. You ask any pro. Okay.
Am I supposed to win this matchup? Nah, get good.
Oh, the feels. I know that.
So you can see here, Contracts actually went from his red buff to Raptors, and now he's going around topside. They don't expect him here. This is a weird route for Rengar to take.
Oh, nom. Ryu takes the distortion right back into first blood.
Yeah, because they expected him to be on bottom side of the map now. Yeah. That is such a weird place for you to come from at that time when they knew you started topside.
See, bear trap on a rope. Easily hit away by Ray each time. Good shield from Smoothie, mantraed up to give the team speed and get a few more shots in. Sneaky connects on Adrian, and they're exhausted there down in the bot lane. Full summoners for C9, but not a lot of mana on Sneaky for the catches.
Yeah, not a lot of mana left. Jins actually go out very quickly. That's why Essence Reaver was such a common build on him before. But now people are just saying, all right, we'll push him out, use all the mana early, and then eventually we'll get to the point where fake the lag. That's what you have to do. And here comes Contracts looking for Zig.
Bye, Scarl. Here goes Zig. Bola just misses. He pulls top. Yep, it's going to be the hit in from Contracts. He knew what he was doing. Comes out with a kill and gives Ray the assist.
Yeah, no flash from Zig there either. And this is a huge snowball lane. If you lose pressure in it like that, then that's pretty much the match right there in that top lane. That could be huge.
Double Dorans for Zig. He did kind of play that in, I'm going to take a bit of damage. Maybe you'll take some from the minion wave type of situation. He found himself in a bad spot with Contracts on the wing. Teleport back to the top side, but right in his face, once again, is Ray.
A little mistiming there on the bear trap on a rope. Comes back with a Dorans for both of them, but Boots advantage for Ray. And that's that assist right there.
Tier picked up for Jensen and Arrow as he makes his way back out of base. Pings are on the bot side. You do see the arrow from Contracts, I believe, maybe going for somewhat of a lane gank here. Doesn't have ult, but knows they are disjointed on their back timing, so if they can find Adrian alone, a possible kill. Easy farming for Ryu in the mid lane, 32-24. And it doesn't look like things are going to be changing much here. Have not seen Meteos or Contracts coming in just yet.
Yeah, and also blowing up Jensen is going to be really hard. They already got the first kill onto Ryu, but Jensen also has a heal, so he'll have extra movement speed. He'll have an extra way to sustain himself, and oh man, this wave top, that's a big wave. That's one of those big ones.
Casters right onto Ray as he has to pull back. Doesn't want him to get in full though.
Well,
so
you
he
lose
tries
that
to
trade,
clear
buddy.
some wave. Ooh. Thought the minion wave was gone enough. Ryu goes in for an attack, and
might be enough.
Contracts comes in, gets the flash out of Ryu.
Yep. You keep your leap distance for about a half second when you leave the brush. So Contracts is able to actually close that distance still. Oh, they saw him.
Yep. He's got a little bit of help from Zig as well. Ray has to be calling that nobody's in the top lane, so be careful if you're going to try and fight him.
Yeah, but Jensen would collapse a little bit faster, and it has level 6 and the ultimate.
Remember, Ryu splashes down as he pulls.
All right.
Scary here.
Jungle fight. Oh!
Ooh, didn't expect that last hit to come back. Meteos hoping the passive would play in his favor. And a good hit by Contracts as they meet one-on-one.
Yeah, not sure what Meteos was expecting there either, because it's a Rengar with 2 kills. Like, 2 kills should be an indicator. You don't want to mess with that guy.
And this was one of the trades, right? They said, all right, you know, you get the Jhin, and then you get the Rengar. We'll take the LeBlanc. And that Rengar seems to be backfiring. Firing off for Cloud9, that is. 3:06 minutes in. Skull returns to help Zig
Damn.
back in the top lane.
He did it. He actually got a remount. That's so hard to do sometimes. Like, you're sitting there, you get 20 for hitting a champion, and then you get, like, very little, I think 5 for killing a minion. So it took him forever. He had the W on, and that's usually how people will do it, is if they have a W up, which you're lucky enough to have it up, it'll be 4 attacks very quickly. You get it on the enemy top lane. That's 80 right there. You just need another one in there. So he actually got some really good Qs with the shotgun, and then he also was able to get some minion kills and some hits onto him.
Oh.
Ah.
Whoa, and he gets stuck up in the minion, so he's got some time to
used
play.
ulti.
Nicely done as he rolls into contracts, possibly giving himself enough room. And Scar, obviously jumping off, will allow him that distance.
Yeah, Zig used the ultimate there. Gives you a little bit of a shield based on the distance that you've gone, but used it a little late too, because then contracts, they targeted him, hit him a little bit. Meteos though, I don't know, man. I thought
He's waiting for Ryu. Ryu's just off to the side. He's going to start hovering up now. May have attacked a little early. Ryu's going to have to distort over the wall. And here he comes to end it.
Jensen?
Meteos says that last fight wasn't how it should have gone. Undertow hits, and there could be another chain coming in from Ryu to lock him down. Cooldown's there. Distortion forward through the minions. Doesn't allow for the CC, but the auto follow-up does get the kill. 2 for 1, as you do mention. Meteos going down to the turret.
Yeah, that's exactly what P1 needed too. They needed a kill on Jensen, and they needed to shut down contracts. And Meteos just comes out, pops the ghost. He's level 6 that time, pops the ultimate for extra damage, and then just smacks away on contracts. Gets the kill too. Contracts had already used his 4 ferocity. We'll see it there. He's at 2. Already used some abilities though to kill the scuttle, so he doesn't have him up immediately. Heals himself. Tries to run away, and then Jensen, too late to it, but you would expect your Rengar that has 3 kills to actually survive a little bit longer. They get the heal out of him and the flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meteos, one of those extra hits in there. Still goes down, but that's a Viking death right there.
Yes. Good job. That's all that needs to be said. They know they came out on top of that one. And a bit concerned about heading to lane and having to blow both of your summoners. He's just trying to charge a tier, get himself to that Rod of Ages. So Jensen would love to actually be in the lane, farming this one out. 1-1-1 for him, as we say a little bit before, mid lane wasn't getting too much. Finds a lot of focus there.
Yeah, but the fact that Meteos is shutting down Jensen and contracts and actually getting a little bit better of them. Sure, he fed a kill over the first time, which definitely not what you want, but it's still something that Cloud9 have never really been tested this split on that. Not a lot of teams focus Jensen or Impact and shut down contracts, but contracts has been one of the guys that, you know, he'll perform pretty inconsistently, and we'll see here. Oh, bad route from Ryu.
0 wards towards the middle, and that is going to be a thank you very much transfer of the blue buff. Goes to Jensen for, goes to contracts for a refresh, not Jensen. That's what I wanted to say.
But 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1, and they still actually have their blue to pick up, so no worries there.
Yeah, 100% KP so far for contracts. He's going to pick up an Ocean Drake now for his troubles. Playing on the bottom side, you can see how far back Arrow is. Just missing CS because they could be dough. It wasn't an ultimate from the Rengar used, so they know he has it up, and there's the potential of a dive.
Contract switching things up, having a much better game. And he's actually kind of since starting with Cloud9 here has been quite a surprise as a young jungler. Bringing out, I think Ivern is one of the first for the NA/LCS, along with other few people, but still plays that to great effect. So
yeah, we kind of talk a lot about Akadia, and Contract's still a rookie as well. Hold on, Ryu up top, Zig might pop the ultimate here.
Ryu would like to get something back for just dying down towards that blue buff.
Yeah.
Ray looks pretty juicy right now. They're hanging out to see if he actually
stun.
changes his play. Ray, a nice cross back. Scarl's out as Zig tries to hold this fight in.
They see Ryu, though. Pop the Scryer's Bloom there, so now he's just going to rotate back to mid, pick up that minion wave that was shoved in by Jensen, as Jensen goes for the blue buff.
Seeing if they might have been able to find contracts a little faster. And they did. That ultimate makes them knowledgeable. So backing off now. Ryu just farming up in the mid lane. Actually pretty quiet mid lane. 70 to 91 as these guys have been fighting. A little behind in CS, you would say, for where we usually see them.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of pressure.
On the trading pattern of Ryze against LeBlanc, he'll get a shield every time she jumps in if he just does the EW, the 2 spells back to back, the Q. And so he'll win most of the trades like that. So because of the early kill, Ryu can't do too much against that. Oh, but the swap, though. Interrupting Ray, going for him.
He's
got the smoke from Nami.
They are going to get it. Oh, riposte back, shuts him down, gets the hit from Nami to affect Arrow. And now they're going to be going out of Jensen in the mid lane. He gets out with the Realm Warp, causing a bit of chaos on the P1 side.
Meteos like, you back. You go all the way back.
Contracts did go down.
Yeah, Contracts ended up diving there, I believe. Ryu gets out and still bottom turret under a lot of pressure here.
That was pretty fancy from Ray on the top side to keep himself alive. And now P1 act on that kill for Contracts, knowing there isn't just ult pressure coming from a Rengar, and they take this advantage to mid.
Yep. Interesting, though, they have to back off before they kill it because Ray is here as well. Top turret, though, damaged by Arrow. So now all the turrets have different pressure on them. Yeah, so he'll see the nearest person, jumps in, tries to kill Ryu, but then, hey, Meteos from the side, pops the ultimate for extra damage, can't be CC'd. Changes targets before the last turret shot, knows that he's going to die there.
Yep. That's quite an elongated engage as we saw him activate the ult and only try to do it about 30 seconds later. Top turret is down and lying in wait.
Yep.
Meteos and Adrian.
That was the first turret as well, so now they get complete control of the top side. Smoothie, though.
Bloop.
Drink him right up.
A little trouble breathing underwater there for Smoothie as he goes down. Sneaky now exhausted to keep him in range. Undertow hits from Meteos to follow-up damage. Meteos is on the tank, so this one works out perfectly.
Wow.
And they are out.
That's just a super clean dive there. These are the types of dives that you would see in games where you don't have a goal pretty much even. And hold on, Zig, look at the Contracts. Other way around. You did root him.
He's like, oh, that's cool. It worked.
I did that.
Sometimes you want it, you don't. You want to go back in. They do, however, pressure Zig out of that. More so for Ray to be able to get that advantage in lane.
Yeah, this
One
might
turret
be
now per side.
Jumping forward there for the minion wave clear, trying to get rid of it so that this turret doesn't go down. Because that would be 2 turrets.
Yep.
Oh, Jensen does have flash. Does he think? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
Just on the edge.
Oh, Jensen! Is he going to get CC'd?
He got locked up, then he got popped up. Oh, put himself in the tidal wave. Meteos with the undertow. Finds it in the axe throwing competition. And now it's going to be the challenge from Ray. He says, who wants to fight me? He's not able to get that last one. Oh, back over the wall. Ebb and Flow keeps Ryu alive, but Ray is also dashing over the wall. Now on to Zig as he tries to take down Contracts, but there are too many targets to focus. He is flung off. Arrow trying to fire back with Mystic Shots as the curtain is called, and will it end anyone? A great step forward from Adrian.
Oh,
sneaky in for not a final shot. He's got all 4 to go through. And 2 for 2 as that one fizzles out.
Yep. Arrow trying to defend this turret here. Doesn't have wave foot, doesn't have the ultimate just yet. If he can land some Qs, he might get it back in time, but no, they're just going to let this turret fall.
Smoothie focusing on the turret. Sneaky trying to just apply the last bit of damage, and it is down. Oh, you had to know that was coming. Adrian caught up. Sneaky reading that one perfectly.
He's got an indicator and everything underneath his health bar, but sometimes you just don't think it's going to be enough. And the laugh, too. The laugh to boot from Ryu is like, look at this. This looks great. Starts it again, but Meteos is already there. And Jensen called the bluff there. And Adrian.
What a prediction. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It was a wave to cut off options so that he couldn't run down. He had to run up or use his ultimate there. So it would have either interrupted the first one, forced him to go up, or end up there based on where he'd actually selected it. But yeah, Ray actually looked like he was about to take over this fight because there was just so much healing when he got the 4 proc on his vitals. Ray does overextend here, though. That is too far forward. And yeah, gets blown up there after the bubble from Adrian. And you can see, it's like, you know, man, I know, used to play with Meteos, but apparently you can't mess with him. You give Meteos an inch, it's gonna take a foot.
He comes back.
Look at that.
Ragnarok is on, and they have the chase. Bear Trap gonna lock down. They're gonna leave this one to Meteos, so Zig can turn back onto Jensen. They're gonna cut him off now as Meteos is goal side, but actually turns into the bad side as Cloud9 starts to pinch in on him. Ray is going to be able to take that one down as you see Arrow firing off some damage. Call comes in. Deadly Flourish hit on the Zig.
Ray in the back.
He's locked in. Ryu as well, trying to zero out Sneaky. A lot of 3-letter R's. It's all right. And they are out of that one. 1 for 1. Junglers go down for all their troubles.
RY and a vowel. What's in a name? And still, Ryu gets that middle turret, and it's pretty close to being even in gold here. It's just 1,000 up for Cloud9, and most of that gold is on contracts in the jungle. But Meteos, 5 kills to his name. Guys being aggressive, and Phoenix1, they're missing a Nori. They're missing that guy who used to ignite things, but it doesn't seem like they're missing a beat here. It's a little more calculated, too, from them.
We'll see who has the better strategy and what's in line next, as the map is kind of evening out a little bit, just around 30K each. And we have one more turret on each side to drop. It is in favor of Cloud9. I'd say that they can get through the middle side of the map. Ray should be able to grab the top turret here. Looks like they're just going to concede this one. Ocean Drake going over to P1 here as everybody sets up the map for what's to come.
And what's to come might be pretty fun here, because main reason that you would want to Kled in your composition is the ultimate, giving people an enormous boost of movement speed. When people first saw the ultimate, they were like, that is fast. That is ridiculously fast. It's more than a Sivir ultimate, and it just has a set path, though, and you have to follow it. But if you have an Olaf that wants to just run and truck their back line, it's perfect for them. So we might see a speedy Meteos, speedy Zig, as they try to pick people off later in the game.
Riding the wave in from Nami for a little more speed.
You could probably keep up with the wave in the Kled ultimate.
I'm trying to give you more speed, but you're just in front of it. Slow down. 9 to 8, as we have had a pretty good trade for kills here, back and forth. Contracts really hasn't been able to build up too many more kills once they shut him down at 4-0. The team was able to use that to pretty much get a few more core items along with the turrets down. And we've been seeing the stalemate on these fights. As I said, back and forth, 1 for 1. See if this last turret can go down. In the bot lane. Doesn't look like Ray's going to make that an easy task here. And Ryu on LeBlanc isn't the fastest turret taker.
No, not at all. But we did see him take a mid one. And Jensen may be looking for Zig in the future. Bear Trap on a rope, goes through minions, so yeah, he'll clear that way. But I'm interested to see what the rest of his build looks like, because we've seen Titanic Hydra for the extra auto attack reset. Because if you dismount and you have your violent tendencies up, oh, nice steal. Oh, ghosting. He's looking for him. Ryu's not done.
And now
oh, whoa, he's really not done.
Chain on to Ray. We're gonna have to welcome all the viewers from NALCS 2 here as we get into a fight. It is on to Ryu now, as Ray feels like he wants to turn this one around for a kill, seeing Meteos from the other side. Jensen and the rest of the team on the top side here, adding pressure. See how P1 can respond.
Yep, you can see Cloud9 taking that top turret, and yeah, everybody joined over from the other stream. We're in game 2 right now. P1 took the first one, and they were about 10K gold up, but this is a game that Cloud9 have a bit of a hold on here, but it's been very bloody. It's been back and forth. We're almost at a kill per minute here, and it's been the junglers fighting most of the time.
Yep.
Like Meteos?
You can see the deaths on them too.
Yeah, that's true.
They're the ones in.
It's the YOLO junglers right now. I feel like Meteos, he's popping Ghost, and he's popping his ultimate as soon as possible, because, I mean, if he loses, he's like, it's not my loss. I'm not on this team. It's a substitution.
Sure, that's
but
the forefront.
You do want to take down your former team. You want to try hard. You want to have a good showing. That's what I love about him, too, is that he's just so aggressive. So he doesn't have that same pressure on him.
He actually finds a jungler he can do that on as well, and the Olaf this time being pushed all the way down. C9 even saying, you don't get the Elise. You don't get anything above this. And first picking that Jhin and Rengar in on the side. That seemed to help them out a little bit. But like you said, Meteos really helping to put this team back into the game. Roaming around with Ryu. We're still waiting to see the engage from Zig on this Kled in the top lane. The pick has interested all of us.
Contracts scouting around, there's actually nobody really even close to the Baron, so they're just trying to get control, trying to clear it out, make sure that they pass the 21-minute mark and actually start looking at it. And Meteos, oh, whoa, arrow, but there's the help.
Tidal wave, this could still be a dead Adrian. It's one final shot, and there it is. Oh! It's going to be the play-in as well. The Realm Warp coming in from Jensen to get into range. Now Meteos looks to clean up the fight. Ryu as well, the sigil on to Jensen. And now they look for Contracts. Contracts cues back. May give them a little bit more distance to do the damage. But Ray has the focus. The team is saying, yes, we're in a fight, but keep it calm and keep pushing the lanes.
Yeah, that's the bottom lane down for Phoenix1. They ended up getting dove by Contracts, but hold on, might be getting smoothie. Oh!
That's the burn. Mantra Shield comes up. He's safe. And no follow-up there coming from Ryu. Double buffs as he tries to take a few fights for himself. And the team backs off of this one.
Yep, Zig returns to the top lane to just clear it out. And you can see Ray continues to shove up here, but then Zig will get to these fights faster. The crit comes through. You will crit the first person that you have that vision on, and then Adrian takes all the shots, even absorbed that last one too. But then Jensen had come through with the Realm Warp. That's so much damage from Zig. Then the exhaust comes down, but Jensen is pretty much done for at that point. And Skarl's the other death. Actually, he doesn't die. He just runs away into the nearest brush. Apparently, there's a point where if you sweeper the brush that he ran into, you can see his outline. It's pretty creepy.
But he's not really there.
Yeah, he's always watching. It's just...
Oh, nice distortion step over. He thought he was going to chain right away. Ray is trying to dodge left and right. Tip, dodge. Ray almost stays alive.
He's out.
Meteos is going to make it out alive on this one. Ragnarok and Ghost again. Like you said, the moment they see an opening, Meteos is up front, and you almost have to respect it and step back to assess what other members are behind Meteos.
I just love this from him because he's assessing the situation so quickly, but also he's not letting the previous failures scar him and condition him to not do that, because he went in previously on a 2-0 Rengar and just tried to 1v1 him at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Then he dies. It's the 3-0 Rengar.
What happened a minute and a half later?
He comes in on a 4-0. I think it was like a 4-0 or 3-0 Rengar, and then he kills him. And then he had the backup of Ryu, and they killed Jensen. And that was what really got them back in the game. So Meteos, sure, they're dying by him in the early game, but they're living by him throughout the rest of it. Hold on, though. Speaking of dying and living, this bush.
Muramana now finished up 4 arrow. And just about the same amount of time we saw Sneaky's last game.
Oh, there's the ulti.
He's rolling through. You can see they're flying behind. Here comes Arrow. It's going to be Jensen now going down immediately as Thunderlords strikes him. And now they're on to Sneaky. They're going to have to slalom through a few minions, but Smoothie is next if they even need to. The minion wave is just behind them after they go for the Baron attempt.
Yeah, they're going to go for the Baron here. Contract's still up, but Ray also has teleport, and he's been splitting bottom. Ray's just trying to get back into this game, and Zig is like, no, I'm going to help my team snowball. Gold even right as that fight was happening, but this might be a straw that breaks the camel's back and P1 start getting a lead.
And no contest for the Baron coming in. The shield, you can see Smoothie wasn't even trying to attack Ryu. He knew he had the distance and the close. They take out Contracts. Solo there for Ryu. And the Baron is going to go over to P1. Once again, Phoenix1 coming out strong when they can against Cloud9.
Oh, man. And Ray split pushes, doesn't get a turret, just pushes the minion wave all the way up. And it's not like a Drake or anything taken afterwards. So now P1, they have priority in these lanes, and they have the Baron buff to shove him out. All right, now, Zig. Oh.
And they have hardly any vision diving into this here.
I mean,
so
he's totally fine. He jumps in, he's like, Skarl, that kills people. And that's exactly what he's trying to do to Jensen. Locks onto him, jumps through, and then he got sectioned off. He was the only person there. Everybody else didn't walk the same way. And it's a 4-on-5 to start, and that's why Zig pulled the trigger. He's like, I see Ray getting that bottom tier 2 minion wave. Time to go, and that's one of the powers of Kled, is that initiation. Don't need to take Sivir when you have her.
The quick distortion ward coming in from Ryu as he just tries to get some vision. Pressure as well for the team to grab Dragon. And P1 again with one of these compositions that it seems they have Cloud9 with their backs turned on those engages. We saw that last time with the equalizers coming through. Cloud9 would have to turn around and reassess the fight. Now it's just Zig and Meteos causing C9 to turn tail and then turning around to get that fight. They are already a little bit down in HP. So P1 to keep the strength back up. We said the only kind of glaring weakness in that first game was the Baron, where they allowed Cloud9 to get back in.
Oh yeah, it was when they were trying to close the game off, and then the Elder Dragon ended up getting done. But this game, it just seems Meteos has taken charge. And so is Ryu. But, oh, Contracts was sitting there expecting that. But didn't jump out, didn't show himself. And Ryu was just a quick one. He was just joking. It's just a prank.
2 control wards as Ryu can go back and forth. Actually, nicely dodging out the warding path.
Oh, there's the engage. And got one. But it's a zoning ult.
Yeah, it also brings everybody who wasn't 2 feet away closer.
Yep.
14 to 11. P1 just flexing their muscles as they get inside the base here.
Oh, why are they sticking around?
Contracts tries to fight this one. That's the exhaust out distortion forward on Contracts. They are pulling the trigger on C9's base. Ray has to back from the top side.
You did it too!
And he teleports into this one. Can't actually get himself into the fight to do any damage. He's just there for power and numbers. And here comes the next minion wave, baroned up by P1's previous moves.
Yep.
And one more next
against TP in.
Yep.
Went back for home guard, went to get full HP. They're trying to take down the #1 team.
It's going to be a lockdown. Smoothie misses. He goes for the focus onto Zig. Nexus first down.
Nexus.
There's nothing that Cloud9's going to be able to do from top to second. An 0-2 week for C9, and P1 comes up with the victory over Cloud9 in 2 games.
And Phoenix1 moved to tied for 3rd place, and they knocked down Cloud9. No longer in sole possession of first. Undefeated team from 8-0 to 8-2. And now, they tried everything. They tried the substitution. They brought Ray in. It didn't work. And Phoenix1, you wouldn't be able to tell if they had a sub.
You would not. There's the hug. We wondered, could Sneaky defeat every teammate he came up against in the LCS? Not this time.
He had taken down high.
This time.
He got balls. He got elimination. They couldn't take down Meteos.
There's the man in the top lane, Zig, you just saw, shaking hands, great rumble, great Kled play.
2 great games in a row from Zig on carries. And I know he sees himself as a carry player, and he's always saying, hey, this is a good top laner, we could play this. He's had the jungler of Inori who likes to play aggressive things too, so having Meteos there play something like the Olaf and have a dive buddy, there was some synergy there that was very, very beautiful to see, to be honest, because I think that they were both on the same page of we're going to go ham, and if we lose, honestly, we lost because we had a substitution. If we win, we just took down the #1 team, right? There's the expectations for Phoenix1 with a sub that they only got a week of scrims with are very low. So you have almost nothing to lose, and you can keep that underdog mentality.
Yep.
Oh, it's the #1 team if we lose to Cloud9. So honestly, Cloud9 dropping a set to a sub team is actually something that you go, okay, Cloud9, what are the issues?
Right, that hurts on the mentality, and I was just about to say, this is the more flustered we've seen Cloud9. You saw Jensen in a lot of those pip cams where he was, kind of just that play, what happened there? And that's not really like, man, we are just playing terrible, but he doesn't seem like he's happy with the play himself there in those situations.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in his head, of course. Not going to speculate too much, but that seemed like Meteos was taking over the game in ways that you don't really expect somebody to do. It's like, why is the Olaf fighting him there? Why is he on that side? Jumping on a Rengar that's 2-0, 3-0, like just killed you, you should really just back off.
Absolutely.
By almost all metrics, but it was really Meteos knowing the limits of his champions. The guy says he's rusty, but that didn't look like a rusty performance from him.
And whether or not it kind of affects you, you have to think Cloud9 put a lot of that focus on Meteos in the picks and bans, and he still comes out to, as you say, control the game. We're like, we'll put a lot of power and focus onto this guy. He won't be a problem. Well, you were wrong that game. And then it also helped Ryu because a lot of that focus was towards the mid lane after he went down in the jungle. So getting Ryu going on LeBlanc pick, we wondered, do you give up Rengar and Jhin for that LeBlanc pick? And it seemed to work for them.
Yeah, just looking at picks and bans, it's like 3 power picks for Cloud9, all of which are pretty ban-worthy. I would say Jhin is one that you don't really ban as much as you ban in the second phase, but they still got it. And you look at the composition from Phoenix1, and there really isn't anything in there that you would ban except LeBlanc. You're not going to ban Kled, Olaf, Ezreal, Nami. It's really just, I think that C9, in terms of pick ban, you just look at the champions and you go, okay, how'd they get these 3?
Yeah.
But Phoenix1 played to their style, and they've done it a few times. They've done it, and I think that Fly is one of the coaches that will draft around his team pretty heavily and actually make it all come together.
That's pretty great to do. Obviously, we keep saying with the sub, but to be like, hey, what champions do you play? We're going to try to fit that into this composition. Also looking at the side from Cloud9, the first time we see them do the swap and not come away with a success for Ray and Impact in the top lane, because we don't know the reason of that. This time, after their loss, they did sub in Ray. It's been for different reasons before, so there's no real concise reason.
It looked like a bit of desperation because Impact had been playing so inconsistently in the last few days that, let's just stop that snowball of like emotions where he's just piling on his performances in his head and being like, I didn't play good that game, I got crushed by Zig, etc. Just bring Ray in, refresher. Maybe the team's morale is a little down. You have a new guy in there, may be able to bring it up. But it was definitely the highest pressure situation that that Ray had been in. So Nope. I definitely think that Ray, he did okay, but I definitely think that Zig got the better of that and played around his team more.
All right. Well, for more on that series, Freak is stage side with a couple old buddies.
Thank you very much. Great cast today. I'm here with Meteos and Sneaky, of course. Meteos, I just got to ask, this is kind of unexpected, I got to imagine. You said you weren't really playing a lot of League coming into this, so how kind of surreal is it, first of all, just coming in out of almost nowhere and actually winning both your matches?
Well, it feels pretty good. If you told me this was going to happen a week ago, I probably wouldn't believe you. But, that's kind of life. Just happens one day at a time.
And but how about, against your old team, of course, you got Sneaky here to your right. You guys have been together for years, basically.
Together.
Hey, I mean, you guys are one of the closest friendships I've seen in League of Legends. You guys are great together in that general sense. So talk to me about sort of what it meant actually coming to the stage against your old team and against your, 3-year-long former teammate.
Well, I think for me, this situation was probably easier to be in than for Cloud9 because for me, I've got nothing to lose. Everyone knows I haven't really been playing that much League. I was kind of brought in last second. So for me, it was just a fun match against my friends, just see how they're doing, see how I'm doing. And yeah,
pretty well, turns out.
It's kind of low pressure situation for me, so worked out.
You did great. Now, Sneaky, I want to kind of hear your thoughts on it. Like, here's someone who's played with you forever. He knows exactly how you lane. He knows exactly how to gank you. What did that feel like?
It was fun. I didn't feel like too much like extra pressure because I was playing against Meteos, but I knew that if I'd overextend, I would die for sure. He would capitalize.
I came bot both games early just for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, so then talk to me about sort of Cloud9 then kind of moving forward. Of course, Meteos, I think you're not really expected to play with P1 in 2 weeks. That's, I guess, up in the air, but the expectations, Nori comes back in, just you nodding, so I'm verifying that. So I want to talk then more about Cloud9, because that's sort of what you guys have in common, a lot of this. So Sneaky, start with you, because you're still on the roster. You're the last of the old guard C9. What's this team sort of feel like compared to all the C9s past, including the ones with Meteos?
It's pretty comparable to last summer split with the way we're like playing, because that's like the form we've been in for a while, where we don't have high, and he was the main shot caller for us. So now we've kind of had to learn how to play on our own with like the 5-man shot calling thing, where all of us try to talk as much as we can and contribute. This last week, it's been pretty awkward. I think we probably needed these losses to keep moving forward, because our games kept getting more sloppy and sloppy. So it was really hard to play, and yeah, I think these 2 losses will kick us back into shape.
It's actually really hard to win a lot. I'm not even kidding. It's going to sound troll, but like when you're undefeated like these guys, it's so easy to just like not try as hard. You don't have that motivation of losing. So
then what do you see in this Cloud9 roster now, watching from afar? You're actually officially part of Phoenix1 as well. You got traded over, so are you still following your friend's season and everything?
Yeah, I like watching them. I've been on Cloud9 pretty much my whole pro career except for like this week. So it's still kind of home for me. I really like them.
All right, quick question for you. Last week when C9 played FlyQuest, who are you cheering for?
I was cheering for C9 to win, but I just want to see a really close match. I like almost everyone in that match. I'm pretty good friends with them, so it was a really fun match to watch.
Great, and obviously you were cheering for C9, so I don't need to ask you that question. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for the interview. Congratulations on the win. Meteos, maybe we'll... actually, before we go, I do want to ask you, after getting these match wins, do you want to go back to the LCS?
I am at the LCS right now.
But assuming Nori comes and starts back in, you going to like fight him for the spot? You going to look for a team to play in? Like, do you want to start competing again?
I have no idea. Like, I didn't know I'd be playing this week. I'm going to sub and help out P1 while I can until they find someone else they want. So, All
right. Well, maybe we'll see more of you. Thank you very much, gentlemen, once again for the interview. Congratulations once again on the win. Let's toss it down to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. It's great to see the 2 of those guys on screen together, even if they are in different uniforms.
Meteos.
Yeah, exactly that. Jad, I got a question for you. After watching all these games, do you ever have the urge to go back to the pro scene?
I'm in the pro scene.
Oh, well, there you are. Okay.
A few more 1,000 games of practice, and I think I'll be ready to go.
That's right. You can't just jump back into it like Meteos apparently can. But let's look at this. 2-0 victory over our #1 team and an 0-2 week for Cloud9. to top all that off. I mean, so this series was incredibly impactful when it comes to the positioning of the teams here in Week 5.
Yeah, and I think the team comp was a very interesting one because I had said previously, they're like, oh yeah, Zig, they're going to pick something that's a carry matchup for Ray, and then Zig will play a tank into it. I think that's what C9 assumed too, because they blind the Fiora after banning out a lot of tanks, hoping to put him on not such a great one. He just goes Kled, which I don't think anyone was expecting. They probably don't have much experience against, and it was a huge factor.
And I think what ended up happening down the stretch once the game got a little bit even and Phoenix1 got a bit of a lead is Cloud9 didn't have enough disengage to deal with the Kled Olaf initiation that just ran them down. I mean, you're taking Ryze and Jhin, who were two relatively low mobility carries, into LeBlanc, Olaf, Kled, and they're just going to run them down, and that's what they did.
And I know, Mark, you were talking about when looking at this draft at a glance, you see over on Phoenix1's side, LeBlanc is maybe the only top-tier pick in that lineup, right? Because otherwise it's Nami, Ezreal, Kled. Those are not, and Olaf, not necessarily things that people are jumping at or competing for. Over on C9, Jhin, Rengar, Ryze are your first 3 picks. S tier, S tier, S tier. How does Phoenix1 end up running over this game? And I think a lot of it has to do with that interaction that you're talking about there.
Right. I mean, you can hypothetically come up with the best comp in the world just based off getting the strongest picks, but if the other team drafts intelligently, which I'd say P1 did a great job of doing, and not only just the way the champions match up, but how the team does. I think we know that Ray prefers split pushing, prefers this style, and you just pick a really hard engaged team comp that can keep forcing fights. And even though, you know, contracts got fed early, it wasn't enough.
And 23 minutes in, hard engaged by Phoenix1, picks up 2 kills, gets him the Baron, while Ray not TPing into this fight.
Right, and you saw that it came in a little late here, but the Kled ult started a while ago, and C9 has a ton of wards around the Baron area, so they could have TP'd in as soon as they heard that Kled ult, but they did not do that. And then as soon as they're onto the Ryze, they blow him up instantly, and the fight is way too late to TP. And so if your coordination is just a little off against a hard engaged team comp like that, and one of your carries goes down, it's way too late. And if your waves aren't in a good spot, the split push does nothing.
Yeah, and I loved the fact that they got evil Meteos, so to speak, onto the Olaf in this game because he hadn't been practicing many of the new champions, and Olaf's a throwback pick for him.
I love the fact that there's no Kled icon on the screen. It's like, how often is
What
Kled
is this
picked?
thing?
That should prove to you how rarely Kled is picked that we can't even fit him onto our post-game breakdown. But it is important to note that Kled ultimate, the sound for the audio cue is global. So for those of you who are not so familiar with the Kled, that is one of the reasons why we can look to Ray and say, hey, why didn't you make that decision? You weren't in a position to be putting pressure on a turret.
Because even though in your mind Fiora is that great split-pushing champion as your team disengages, technically they were being dove by killable targets. So Fiora actually works in those team fights. If you just ult the ex-Cloud9 Meteos as he flies in, you kill him pretty quickly, and then you can just turn the fight around with the healing spring you get.
Right, very much so. And also on top of that, when we look at Kled plus Olaf coming in on, you know, low mobility champions in Jhin, no way to escape. You have Ryze, no great way to escape. It makes C9 very vulnerable to those quick cross-map engages in a sense. And maybe we'll see Kled become a more popular pick for that reason.
Potentially. I mean, there are a lot of split pushers kind of in the meta right now with the Shen. You see things like Singe, all these different things that want to be in the side lane a lot. So maybe see the Kled a little bit more.
Yeah, I will say teams, even without Kled, today need to smarten up about these split pushes because we've seen a large number of these games ended because a team is trying to take a turret trade somewhere and the game is just over, right? There's still this adjustment period from last season with the turret lasers removing. It's much easier to kill the Nexus turrets, and teams have not begun to respect it yet.
Game 1 ended because we went for this weird base race, 2v5. Or 2v4. I don't really understand where that decision came from. But yes, a lot of teams still may be struggling to figure out exactly how to play around the globals as we're moving, you know, away from only tanks in the top lane to having some of those carries. Let's talk about player of the game, Reverse Meteos here, picking it up.
Love it.
This time around, the Olaf pick of all things is what's going to put the nail in the coffin for C9.
Right, and there were, Bizarro Meteos had a lot of good 2v2s where even before, like, you know, P1 had gotten the game back, they were losing pretty hard. And he had one in the top river that Ryu got involved in, as you know, Jensen took not the best Ryze ultimate, but overall he was a huge factor in these games and was constantly chasing down multiple targets on C9.
Yeah, and I also want to say classic Meteos in this game because he had high damage, high kills. The solo kill onto Contracts was probably relatively cathartic, just the new guy who's taking his spot. And he was up 2 kills at the time, but he got taken down.
Okay, now let's pull back out of this series and talk about Cloud9 as a team and their 0-2 week, because here we go, undefeated coming into it. You're up against TSM. All right, that's to a degree an acceptable loss, I think, if you're looking at that. You have to get knocked in the teeth at some point. But the Phoenix1 game of all games with upside down Meteos coming in to smack you back. This is going to be a tough week for them to stomach. We even heard Sneaky talking about it. It might be just the kick they need to actually, re-motivate themselves to get back to the top of the table.
I would hope that based off their previous week's performance, they were already pretty motivated. They were not like stomping people. They weren't exactly like feel-good series where it's like, oh yeah, we crushed them. We're looking great, guys. Let's go out and get some Korean barbecue, right? Like this wasn't their kinds of wins previously, and I don't think you need the loss to get to the level where you're like, we need to buckle down.
Yeah, I do have to say, though, that there was a pretty big letdown from the climactic series they had, FlyQuest versus C9, who was the best team in the LCS, to this week. And I definitely feel like both of those teams almost like patted themselves on the back. They read the Reddit thread after the game.
Yeah.
Man, these are so clearly the 2 best teams in the LCS. I can't wait to see these guys in the finals. And like, yeah, we're the best. But that wasn't the case, right? They 0-4 this week when you combine those 2 teams together.
And it makes all of a sudden the top of the ladder here has just went and crunched down, right? Because now all of a sudden C9, TSM are tied. We were saying last night, well, even if C9 loses, don't worry, they still got that game buffer over TSM. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. And Phoenix1, they pull right in next to FlyQuest here.
I mean, the middle of the standings were always kind of a mess in terms of who was better than who, and I think the top of the standings saw that and they're like, hey, that looks pretty fun. Let's start losing too, so we can get some confusion in here.
Let's be a part of that whole,
cool.
With that craziness that's going on down there. Let's take a look at who walked away with the most player of the game distinctions here in week 5. Keen had a big weekend with 3 player of the games, while Arrow, Dardoch, and Darshan take home 2 honors each. Now, if we see how that shook up our split leaderboards, Moon now shares the lead with Dardoch at 7 player of the game accolades, with Impact High and Svenskeren following close behind.
Yeah, and Impact getting subbed out for game 2. One of the leaders in terms of players of the game, clearly in a little bit of a midseason slump here.
Yeah,
it almost makes it more impressive. He's done it in less games.
He has. And I do want to say, just finally closing out, they subbed in Ray for game 2 in a high-pressure situation, and he definitely didn't perform. I won't necessarily say that, like, this was a must-win for Cloud9 because they know they have that big cushion, but it's moments like these that are trying to prepare them for playoffs when it is a real make or break game, but still, Ray yet to have that successful debut with Cloud9.
Very much so. Well, we'll look for him to have it later in the split. With our individual praises in the books for week 5, let's review how the teams placed at the end of the weekend. A rough week for Cloud9 allows TSM to climb to first alongside the previously undefeated team. Phoenix1's upset puts them next to FlyQuest in 3rd. Then below our middle of the pack teams, Liquid drops to 9th alongside Team Envy. We'll be back again March 3rd to kick off week 6. We start on Friday with Immortals taking on Team Liquid in the Battle Arena, with Phoenix1 squaring off against CLG later that day. Big matchups, but we have 2 weeks to get there, and of course IEM in between. But with these full 2 weeks, what exactly are we looking for teams to do in that 5th to 6th week time? Is it all about cleaning up the macro game? Because you mentioned the middle of the pack teams. Where does the separation begin to come?
I'm not exactly sure. It's nice to see P1 playing CLG. CLG has actually been trending upward in terms of record quite heavily, though their play has still been a little sloppy, so you're going to look at them to see if they can clean that up. And then Team Liquid has to figure something out, and they have a 2-week break to do so.
Yeah, and it's been a bit of a marathon, as always, when you're playing every week. So what I'd like to see these teams do in the break is go back, spend some time VOD reviewing almost all of your games you've played, and figure the styles that have worked best for you. And then specifically play for those styles, because we've seen a lot of inconsistencies in drafts. We've seen teams try to play a varying number of styles. And now you can actually take some time to analyze and really hone in on what kind of team you want to run.
Right, experimentation on the first half of the split. Maybe time to lock down specific strategies that work in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for week 5 from us here. Now for myself, the cast of the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. For the diehard fans, though, stick around because NALCS Tonight is coming up right after this, where Kobe joins myself and Jat to break down the weekend's highlights. We'll see you soon.